right, guys, today we're going to deduce exactly what's going on with our intercooler system. As you've seen right here at the very beginning of the video, you've seen how pathetic and pitiful the flow was going back to the tank. And I can almost positively remember back when I put that ice tank back in the car about 3 to 4 years ago when we first did it, we had the stock 03 Cobra pump on it. And it was literally shooting out of the tank hole that I just showed you. And it was going about mid-tank. Now we got an EWP150 on it, and it's had a Rule 2000 on it, and neither one of those have done any good. And I'm thinking the intercooler has to be clogged up with something. I've done this right here before, but after talking with Alan Joyner, I'm gonna try it one more time. We're gonna reverse the lines on the back on the tank and use some white distilled vinegar. I'm gonna go buy another gallon. We're gonna use 1.5 gallons this time. And then we're going to start the car up, let it run for about 30 minutes, get it up to temperature, and then we will switch the lines back, and then I will let it cycle some more, let it run a little bit longer, and we're just gonna keep doing that until we can maybe see progress. I don't know if it will or not. Let me see if this lens is dirty. Had to clean the lens, looks like I had a fingerprint on that thing. So we're gonna go ahead and do this and see what we got going on. But also I think I'm gonna run to Menards real quick and get me a fitting right here and pull these two hose ends off the intercooler, the heat exchanger. As you can see, it's all beat up anyways. We're gonna do away with this, and we're going to bypass this. We're just gonna get a fitting of somehow to just loop the system, so all that's in the system is the intercooler itself. So that way we know for a fact the intercooler is good, so we gotta get that cleaned out first. And when it starts picking up flow, if it picks up flow, then we know what our issue is with that. And it might even, if I bypass that, it might automatically just start going. Maybe the heat exchanger's stopped up. I don't know. I really don't. I have tried cleaning this thing multiple times and I've never had any luck doing it. So I want to try it one more time, and if it doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm just going to wait until like VMP releases their new intercooler, but I'm still kind of skeptical about all these new intercoolers being brought onto the market because J2 Fab struggled and they've had some really bad results with those. I know he's got a different batch of intercoolers now he's trying, so we'll just wait and see what happens there. And then I'm gonna wait and see what happens with the VMP, because I don't personally want to spend $1,400 and then, you know, have a problem. I talked to Alan Joyner. He said his IATs are like 98 to 105, and he's still running 3/4 inch hoses. You know, it's the factory size hoses in the intercooler. He runs the Cobra Engineering front adapter plate, which I may just go ahead and go to that as well because it has a little bit better transition. And I'm not sure if the hose ends are bigger or not. I asked Alan, he wasn't sure either. So, but I may switch over to that and then maybe get another factory intercooler if this doesn't work. So just stay with me. We're going to try it real quick. All right, so this is a line coming from the pump, and we've just looped it going from the intercooler and everything. Or actually, you want going from the intercooler going to the intercooler, or one going from the pump is going to the bottom of the intercooler or the top of the intercooler. This is a line coming from the intercooler. I bypassed it from going to the heat exchanger, and now it's going straight back to the tank. So now that we've got the heat exchanger out of the mix, we're gonna put some water in it and some distilled vinegar. I am going to put probably 1.5 gallons of distilled water in this thing. I'll put 1.5 gallons in it, and then I'll probably put, I don't know, maybe another 1.5 gallons in the tank. So it'll be a 50-50 mix basically. We're gonna mix it strong just to see if it'll help. I'll probably, you know, start the car, like I said, 30 minutes, let it run, get it up to temperature and everything. And then we'll check flow. But once we get all this put back in, we'll check flow and just see if the heat exchanger was a problem. All right, so I went ahead and switched these lines in the back, and we bypassed the front, and we're already seeing a big difference in what we got going on. You look right there, see, so we're already putting out quite a bit more than what we were before, but that's still not good enough in my opinion. I think it should be more than that. It should actually be shooting almost across the tank. So we're gonna go ahead and continue cleaning it and see if we can get anything out of it. So we know now that the heat exchanger is 110% was causing a problem. So we'll get that out of the loop and throw it away and say it served its purpose well for as long as it did, and just move on. Just a little bit better. Getting there. I switched those lines back around. I was told I'm gonna have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until I get this thing cleaned out. It seems to be working, so let's keep our fingers crossed. All right, so I've got the car up and running. Just been sitting here watching it. We're watching our temperature right now. I've got the water shut off going to the intercooler. We're gonna let this warm up to like 135, 140. And I'm gonna kick the pump back on and circulate some water and see if that'll get some of that mildew scale out of the intercooler. All right, now I'm gonna kick the pump on. We're at 133. All we gotta do here is hit one. One is on. Now the pump should be going. Let's see if it drops. Slowly but surely it's dropping. Got the pump back on. I'm gonna let that circulate for a little bit, then I'm gonna switch the hoses again and let it circulate for a while the water is a little bit warm. All right, so we've made some improvements on where we started. I'm gonna continue switching back and forth and see if we can get it any better. It's already made a tremendous difference, as you've seen. Every time I switch the hoses around, it seems like it's pumping out a whole lot better. So I'm going to continue to do that, but you know, I'm sitting here just thinking to myself that we've already got a list on what we're going to do this winter, and a 1-inch line setup and a 1-inch intercooler setup is something that's on my mind. I know of a company that's going to be coming out with a 1-inch adapter soon, I hope, and if they release it, I'll be probably quickly in line to get it if I can possibly talk him into it. And then we'll either take the factory intercooler and have it set up to receive a 1-inch line, or we will check out the VMP or the J2 Fab. We're gonna sit back and kind of let everybody else do that, because those things are like $1,300-1,400 bucks. And I think if I just did a 1-inch line on the factory intercooler, it would help, but it ain't gonna do no good, obviously, if my intercooler is junk, which it could possibly be. So that is number one. Like I said earlier in the other video, we do have the engine build going on, but I'm gonna get the short block done as quickly as possible, obviously, because I've got the finances to go ahead and get the short block and the machine work and all that stuff done, and then we can bring it back and assemble it and do videos on it. I don't know where I'm at financially on the heads, because I want to get the heads done. I don't want to put together until I can afford to have either the heads ported or to do the Ford GT heads. That's a must, so I will not pull this engine out or do anything with this engine until that is able to happen. And then we'll move on from that. So intercoolers first. We got to get that stuff sorted out and figured out. We got to get good flow. Then we'll build a short block, and then we'll concentrate on getting a converter that works good, either switching to a turbo 400, or we'll do a 4R set. We'll get another converter for the 4R70W and send the 4R70W off to get refreshed. That's looking more like what we'll do is a 4R70W refresh, and we'll just keep this engine in here until we can financially support getting the heads ported and doing all the other good stuff to it that I want to do to it. So that's kind of where we're at, because I do believe that this engine will go 8s. We just got a few simple issues we just got to work out. So there you go. We've got some stuff that we've deduced on the intercooler setup, that we know that intercooler was clogged. I also weighed it. It weighs exactly 20 pounds. So I could probably get like a GT500 one, and they're lighter, but then again, they hold a lot more water, so kind of in between on that, be the same. And so you can hear the water now. So before you couldn't even hear the water splashing in the tank. So it's definitely making a little bit more steam. So another thing we want to do, we'll remove the AC and all that stuff probably. I mean, I don't really drive the car in July or August, and I'm not going to race the car in July and August. I plan on trying to hit up like an NMCA race at the beginning of the year so me and my cousin Adam can race together. And then we'll probably hit up NMRA Bowling Green, and I'll look at some other NMRA races and see if we can't make them before it gets really hot, because I don't want to race in the hot weather. It is no fun. But yeah, that's where we're at, guys. We'll see where we go from here. I've already been talking to FTI. I may get a converter from FTI if I do it again. If I don't go through them, I'll go through Circle D. Circle D is proven on the overdrive transmission stuff. I could use the trans brake, which is what this converter is actually essentially set up for, which is probably why it doesn't flash to 3500 to 3800 like we had originally wanted to. I just didn't want to use a trans brake and take a chance, because when you use trans brake, it's hard on parts and it's hard on the planetaries, and the planetaries are kind of a weak link in the 4R70W. And why use a trans brake when there's cars out there going 1-2-60 foot off idle and foot braking? So honestly, that's kind of where I'm at. I kind of want to just get a converter set in it that's made for foot braking. So that's where we're going to head. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching. Again, like our videos, subscribe to our channel, share us on all your social media platforms. It's very much appreciated. And we'll talk to you later. Peace out.